My name is Anna and this is my husband Leif Erik. He came up with this idea to build a simple catamaran, put it in a container and send it from ice-cold Norway to Tahiti in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. This way we could start sailing in paradise. I said, what a crazy idea. Let's do it. This is the adventure of building and sailing BareBare. And the story starts when finally coming back after 3 years of the pandemic. So, are you ready for my story? I love flags. I absolutely love flags. Years ago, when we went on a sailing trip, the whole family, we went through at least 20 countries and had bought some of the courtesy flags before we left, but we also painted a lot of them. And this way, the children would learn more geography. They would, they would have to be quite detailed on some of the flags, try to make them as nice as possible. Also do the sewing parts. And this one is really, really beautiful. It's quite embarrassing that I can't remember which country this is. And it doesn't look like it's been worn much. Really, really beautiful. And if we stay at a place for a long time, it would be, really, really blown out like the Cuban one. When we were to arrive at Cape Verde, we had bought the Cape Verdean flag, but we realized that it wasn't correct, the one we bought. It was wrongly printed. So what we did is we just painted on this. So it's really stiff here. We painted white and red and white and red. And so now we have the correct flag. You can see also Cape Verde. We stayed in Cape Verde for a long time. On our second trip to Cape Verde, we bought the flag. And again, now looking at the flags, some years later, I just realized I was just looking at the new flag. I'm just going to put it here. And then I'm holding up our old flag. And they're not the same. So I'm not really sure. Maybe this one is not correct either. So, I'm going to go back and look how does actually the Cape Verdean flag look like. French Polynesia has a very, very beautiful flag with lots of details. But when we were leaving for Tahiti in 2019, we were in quite a hurry and we didn't have time to make it or even to order it, and we didn't find it in any shops. So we didn't have any Tahitian courtesy flag. That's what we call them, it's like a guest flag. So we didn't have the flag, but we managed to find one in Tahiti in a shop, and we bought the biggest one we could find. So now we had the courtesy flag of French Polynesia. There are actually certain flag rules. So in Norway, you have to hoist the flag at 8 o'clock in the morning and take it down no later than 9 in the evening. You should take it by sunset. So, it could be earlier at winter time, but at summertime it's later. So it's later than 9 o'clock when the sun is going down. But 9 o'clock is an important rule to get the flag down. And I think some, like foreign sailors could get really surprised if you are in a Norwegian harbor and not too strict about it. And you hear, like horn blowing, to tell everyone, take your flag down. So it's sort of like shame on you. And People might even come over to you and say, you know, you have to take the flag down. Long distance sailors are not really that concerned about their flags. Different sort of rules in different countries, and people also have different sizes on their, you know, their actual flag, the flag you use to show which country you come from. So for instance, French people, they have very, very small flags, and we were discussing and laughing, are they, you know, not proud of being French? I mean, usually French people are very proud of being French, I think, or are they stingy? And Germans also have very small flags, while Danish people, and of course English people, but especially Danish flags, are always huge. So they are so big that when you're in the harbor, or on anchor, the flag will almost, just almost touch the water. It's not supposed to touch the water. Another flag rule. So when you start sailing, the flag will start blowing, and it looks really, really beautiful. And as you know, I love flags. So I told you that we did have a really huge flag when we left Tahiti in 2019, and it's taken us 3 years to be back because of the corona, the pandemic. And by now it was maybe not even slowly, but it was quite quickly blowing into pieces because we didn't take it down. And I'd seen on some photos, you know, it was less and less left of the flag. And when we arrived, I didn't have that flag. It was like only like sort of like this much left. I had managed to buy some flags online in Norway. So I had like 3 flags that arrived in Norway, and I took it to BareBare. The flags were this size, very, very, very small. You know, last ones were like this size. Next time, I promise, I'm gonna paint a huge flag. Maybe I paint 3 so I know that I have enough when it starts blowing. So we're finally back in Huahine and on BareBare after 3 years. And during these 3 years, we had done, you know, the paperwork to give BareBare a foreign passport, a foreign country passport. So by now, she could stay in Huahine in French Polynesia also, as long as she wanted or as long as we wanted. You know, good for BareBare, good for us. But somehow I thought, you know, now the boat was actually Tahitian. And I thought that the flag was not supposed to be used as a courtesy flag on starboard side. It was supposed to be used in the pole in the back. So I thought it was correct to use the Tahitian flag on the pole in the back of the boat, like, you know, we would do in Norway. We would have the Norwegian flag, or, you know, usually we would have the Norwegian flag anyway. So that's what I did. My support team, which was Leif Erik from Norway, was telling me again and again, BareBare is not a Tahitian citizen. BareBare only has a foreign ship passport. She's still Norwegian, and she should still have the Norwegian flag in the pole on the back. The Tahitian flag is starboard side, hoisted up on starboard side. He was almost like telling me this sort of like in capital letters, you know, very, very seriously. I would not listen. I did not want to listen. So I did what I very often do, you know, I do what I want to do. So I started, you know, doing the work to get it on the pole, put it in the back. So I started sewing it, you know, doing the work needed. So eventually I had quite a big flag pole with quite a small little flag. I was holding it up and showing it on. Look at my beautiful work. And then I realized the flag was upside down. And I started laughing, and Anna started laughing. And I remember, you know, years ago again on our family trip, we went to Cuba and hoisting the flag, and then we arrived at the marina on May 1st. And another sailor in the marina said, "You are, the flag is upside down. You are declaring Cuba war." And we didn't want to declare Cuba war, so we just quickly you know, turned the flag the other way and went ashore because we wanted to see Fidel Castro. It was May 1st, and he was gonna have a big speech in front of 1 million people to turn out. So of course we turned the flag, went ashore, found a horse taxi. They had horse taxis at that point in Havana, and went to town and celebrated May 1st. The funny thing is now, so many years later, you know, telling this story that I've told so many times, Leif Erik says, but the Cuban flag, doesn't it have a star? Can you turn it both ways? And said, no. I mean, this story, we told it so many times. So we looked up on Google, and I'm gonna find my flags here because that's the flag I have. And this is so funny because realizing, you know, there's nothing called up and down, you know, it doesn't really matter if you take it whichever way. At that point, you know, we were probably in a really hurry and a bit stressed out to go to town. So, you know, we turned it from whichever way to the other way. And of course it was correct anyway. I thought this is a really funny story after so many years. Okay, we are on BareBare. We are in a beautiful lagoon. I hoisted the flag. Well, I didn't really do it, but it was on the flagpole. It was upside down. And, you know, the whole declaring war situation. Probably that, you know, that guy in Cuba, you know, I'm thinking back, you know, he must have thought, you know, I'm gonna, you know, make some fun with this Norwegian. I'm gonna say they did the flag the wrong way. Of course, there were no wrong way. Anyway, I was now thinking about, you know, doing this declaring of war thing, which I haven't actually Googled yet. I'm not sure if it's correct at all. Could be, could be not. But I didn't want to have the flag upside down. So I sat down and redid my hard work and put the flag the correct way. And until Leif Erik arrived a month and 10 days later, I flagged Tahitian. The drawings arrived in a package like this. Inside were all the drawings for Tiki 38 number 148. So that's the Tiki we were gonna make. And the drawings, they came like this. We would unfold them. And of course, they do look rather big. I'm gonna put them in front of me and you can see them like that. I'm gonna flow them around a little bit like that. But of course, this size is not big enough to make a real boat. This would be more like a motorboat, and we didn't want to make a motorboat. We wanted to build a 38 feet Tiki. So what we had to do was to scale the drawings up to the correct size or the design. And I didn't really know how we were going to do that. And the way we ended up doing it was actually putting them in a photocopy machine and photocopy each part that we needed, or most of the parts we needed, into the correct size. Then we would just use scissors and just cut around. It's like playing, you know? And we would just put it on the top of the plywood and use a pencil and draw around. And then we could just use an electric saw, called a jigsaw, I think, and cut out the pieces. By now we spent every Saturday in Jan's workshop and pre-cut all these pieces. It looked like, you know, if you ever had one of those, like a dinosaur kit that you maybe got for your birthday and you put the pieces together. That's sort of how these pieces looked like, you know, like a piece could be sort of like this used for something, and another piece could be sort of like this used for something else. To me, it looked a bit strange, and I thought, is this actually going to be a boat? Or actually be two boats? But I had big faith in the rest of the team, and I thought this is gonna work out. At this time we purchased a huge barrel, actually 200 liter of epoxy, and that turned out to be the most expensive part of everything we bought for BareBare. We also, the plywood, you know, the plywood we also had to buy. We couldn't use, of course you couldn't use like second-hand epoxy. I never heard of that. Maybe we could get second-hand plywood, but we bought new one. We didn't find any second-hand. Otherwise, there were lots of bits and pieces that were given to us, or we bought it very cheaply. So early spring, we had lots and lots of pieces stacked up, and this was actually going to become the 2 hulls of BareBare. Leif Erik was showing us the model he had made in cardboard, taking the little catamaran model apart and putting each of the pieces into the container, which was also made out of cardboard. It was almost, you know, like playing. We had so much fun, and we sort of thought, oh, this is gonna work, you know, it looks so nice, and everything was just with a little sort of like a toy. And I should give some advice. People should play some more. I mean, at some point, most adults stop playing, and we should play more. At this time, we all became very self-confident, and we just sure, yes, this is gonna work, this is gonna work. So Leif Erik and I decided, let's go to England and go to a big boat jumble. And a big boat jumble is like a flea market, but you know, just for crazy enthusiasts like us. So we went by plane and train from Oslo to London, and then train down to Cornwall, and went to this huge boat jumble and bought lots of stuff that we needed or thought we needed, like ropes. We bought a windlass. We actually bought a small oven. I don't know why, because we would never use that in the Pacific, but lots of things. And you sort of get, you know, you get sort of hyped up. You really, oh, you see these things, I need it, you need that, you want that. And we ended up buying a stack of things, and they would all be kept at our friend's house in Cornwall. That was people, 2 young couple that we had met on our sailing trip in 2014 and 15. And Joe, he was going to keep the stuff. And Meg, one of the other young sailors, she had become a tattoo artist. So of course, you know, being there, you know, I didn't have any tattoos. All of a sudden I thought, I need a tattoo. And I thought of just having like a small, dark, like 1 color anchor on my ankle. And then Meg said, oh no, you have to have colors. So I said, okay, you do whatever you want. So I got this beautiful tattoo with a D for Drina written in the middle of it. Thank you for watching my stories. If you like what you have seen, I can make more videos. But to be able to do that, I need a little help. To keep the videos coming, you can support me by subscribing, by hitting the like button and the notification bell. It takes a lot of work and effort to make these videos, and if you want to help me a little extra, please check out my Patron. Thanks to all my supporters.